John Laurinaitis is getting divorced. Finally. Can you believe?
The Bella twins are probably happy.
Yeah. Well, she's getting divorced as well, Nikki Bella, against that guy who
Oh, the
reportedly
guy
hit
that
her.
they got for, yeah, the guy they got for domestic violence.
Yep.
Well, well, I don't blame them if they're not happy in their marriage. Get out of it.
Why did it
Get
take
the
so
hell out
long?
of it.
Why did it take so long? I mean, this was what? This all came out in January? And
It's taken
then,
a while.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. They were probably apart, and they may have been trying to work it out, and they couldn't work it out. So hey, end it. Get out of it. But the Bella's mother, I didn't even know she was married to John Laurinaitis to about a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
I didn't.
she was in Total Divas or Total Bellas. She was one of the, as was
Well, I don't.
Johnny Ace.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. I don't watch that show, so I didn't even know that. And then I heard it. I went, "I'll be damned." That damn Johnny Ace. He's not missing a trick anywhere. So, but anyway, uh, and I never liked Laurinaitis anyway. I thought he was a snake, and it was all for him. If you could do something that would benefit him, yeah, he'd be all for it. But if you wanted him to stand up for you, he wouldn't do it. So, and he was the liaison between Vince and the talent. He was the cog in between. So, uh, anybody that had an ounce of sense about him wouldn't even talk to Laurinaitis. You would go straight to Vince.
Hmm.
You would try to leapfrog him and get through there.
I've never asked you
So,
this. Johnny Ace, I mean, how many conversations did you have with him over the time? Or did you just, how long did it take for you to realise just to ignore him and just go straight to
oh,
Vince?
no, I knew about him before he even got there.
Oh, really?
No,
he was
no,
keying you in.
his reputation preceded him.
Right.
And I
What
knew how he was before because I'd heard stories about him.
what was his reputation? I'm not talking about just hiring catalogue models and stuff like that, but what was his reputation professionally with talent?
Well, with time, he was just a snake, basically. Don't tell him nothing you don't want anybody to know because he'll tell everybody, plus add on to it a little bit. So, and to the negative.
Would he try
So
and
I
trap
know.
you? Would he try and trap you and
So if
you
he
know that kind
didn't,
of thing where like, oh, what do you think of this guy? That if you said something negative, then spread it around.
well, he would, I guess, but not to me because I didn't talk to him that much. I never trusted him. I could look at him and say, hey, here's a guy who wanted to be a wrestler. Now he's wearing a suit and tie running around. And he took the quickest route possible to get to the boss. And because I think he was coming up with some finishes in Japan, and he was supposed to be a great finish guy. I never saw it, but that's what he was supposed to be. But when you get around somebody and you have an odd feeling around them, can you imagine me sitting and talking to Vince and Laurinaitis at the same time?
Oh God,
I,
well, you
I
don't want
was
to be in
in,
between those two.
they really affected me like something's not right here. The chemistry is not right here. And the first chance I get, I'm going to excuse myself out of this meeting and take off.
Did you ever hear any stories about Johnny Ace? I don't mean this in the literal way, but in a sense, but screwing over talent or trying to get them in trouble needlessly.
I never heard any stories, but because you can't believe everything you hear in the dressing room. If some guys don't have a ironclad reason to why something was denied or they didn't get a push, I mean, Laurinaitis was right there. You could just blame him, period. Well, he doesn't like me, and that could work for anybody. But I heard. Let me say this: I heard more negative things about John than I heard positive things.
Brian Danielson alluded to possibly John Laurinaitis not being part of the family for much longer. This was a few months ago, and considering he's a lovely person who says basically nothing bad about anyone, that was fairly telling that Brian Danielson was basically saying, yep, he's not going to be around much longer. So, but the thing is that I wanted to mention is that at the very, very least, a string of affairs under his belt, and at the very worst, a coercive, probably at the very best coercive, using his power within WWE for coercive purposes, for his own pleasures, and at the worst, a rapist. So,
well, okay, John Laurinaitis was infamous for his treatment of the divas and those extracurricular affairs he had. It got back to the Bellas. And then they would tell the mama, and now all he's doing is sowing discord in that family and making it hell for everyone. So what Brian Danielson said, he won't be missed. And get him out of the way and get that roadblock behind us, and let's go on.